Item 31, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 358 by Senator Jackson, an act relating to private employment.
Mr. President and members, I present to you today Senate Bill 358, which will revise California's equal pay laws. California has prohibited gender-based discrimination since 1949, and yet we still have an unacceptable gender wage gap. In 2014, the gender wage gap in California stood at 16 cents on every dollar. A woman working full-time, year-round, earned an average of 84 cents to every dollar a man earned. And this wage gap is extended significantly when we look at women of color. Indeed, Latina women in California make only 44 cents to every dollar a white male makes, the biggest wage gap for Latina women in the entire country. While the state's overall wage gap is slightly lower than the national average of 78 cents on the dollar, this persistent disparity in earnings still has a significant impact on the economic security and welfare of millions of working women and their families. Indeed, it is estimated that women leave $33.6 billion a year on the table and off their families' tables as a result of this unacceptable disparity. The state provisions, which are the basis of the Federal Equal Pay Act, are rarely utilized because there are so many loopholes it makes it nearly impossible to establish a successful claim. Pay secrecy also contributes to the gender pay gap because women cannot challenge pay discrimination if they do not know that they are being paid less than their male counterparts. This bill would help to close the wage gap in several important and significant ways. First, the employee would no longer face retaliation by her employer for asking about wages being paid to other employees. You simply can't challenge what you don't know. Second, this bill would go steps further than current federal law in its powerful combination of additional provisions that would ensure that, one, workers can challenge pay discrimination based on wages paid to other workers at different work sites of the same employer. Workers can challenge pay discrimination based on wages paid to workers doing substantially similar work. And as an example, where you have a hotel that has a janitor and a housekeeper, and yet pays significantly more to the janitor because he is, in fact, a male. Employers would be required to show that a difference in wages is based on a specific factor that is legitimate, that serves a business purpose, and is not based on or derived from a gender bias. In other words, the difference is that it is a gender-blind distinction, which is the cause of the unequal pay. Employers will have to show the factor is job-related and reasonable, and that the non-discriminatory factors relied on account for the entire pay differential. And I would like to thank the California Chamber of Commerce and the Civil Justice Association of California, who have worked diligently with us to address their concerns. And with the recent amendments that we have taken, they have removed their opposition from the bill, and indeed, the Chamber of Commerce is now in support. And from my perspective, it does prove that pigs can fly. And so, colleagues, this is a bill about equal pay for equal jobs. It's an issue that I and many other gray-haired women have been fighting for, speaking for myself, that we have been fighting for at least the last 35 years. I bring this bill to you today and would urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise as a co-author of the bill. I first want to thank Senator Jackson for her steadfast commitment and tenacity in moving this issue forward, a real and serious phenomenon that we have lived with as a society for far too many generations. We had a full hearing on this bill in the Labor Committee, and it was pointed out that even in nursing, which we traditionally associate as a female profession, male nurses are paid more than female nurses to do the same job. I also want to personally thank the California Chamber of Commerce, with whom we had a very heartfelt debate in committee, but recognizing that this has been, over these many decades, an employer-caused problem, not an employee-caused problem, that it really was only to be solved once employers rolled up their sleeves and got engaged. The Chamber of Commerce listened, more than listened, worked with the author, and has been stated is now in support of the bill, and I thank them for that. I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Leno. Senator Leyva?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank the good senator from Santa Barbara and the good senator from San Francisco for bringing this forward. I hope that every person, male or female, in this room finds it appalling that it is 2015 and we actually have to take this issue up. I have twin daughters who are 23 years old. When they were born over 20 years ago, I didn't think we would still be arguing this. My hope had been that they wouldn't have to worry about this. Imagine, we all have a sister, we all have a brother, excuse me, the brothers are doing just fine. We all have a sister, a mother, a daughter, and that they would do the exact same job as their male colleagues and be paid less. I rise in strong support, and I hope that we can once and for all put this issue to bed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Leyva. Senator Stone?
Thank you, Mr. President. On this rare occasion, I must say that I stand in support with my colleague from Santa Barbara. I have long been a strong advocate of equal pay for equal work in the 23 years that I've been in government, and seeing and witnessing the income disparities that have often come across my desk. Disparities that I've tried to cure, both in my role as a city council member, on the Board of Supervisors, and here today in the state Senate. In honor of my granddaughter and in honor of my daughter that just graduated from law school, passed the bar, I want to make sure that she receives the appropriate salary and income as her male counterparts as she embarks on her professional career. This was a tough bill in that we do have federal laws that prohibit such actions, but I can tell you that the federal laws just don't go far enough because we still see and witness the income disparity that I think is shameful in this country, in this state. And so it makes it a much easier vote here today to vote for income equality based on your skills and your education and your qualifications, and not necessarily on your gender. I applaud the senator. Thank you for bringing it forward. Happy to support it. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Senator De Leon?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I too rise in support of this measure. This is a great measure for Democrats and Republicans to come together. I want to give much credit to the tenacity of our great senator from the Central Coast in Southern California, and to all our colleagues from San Francisco who has worked very hard on this issue. The reality is this: women are getting paid less, and when they have less money in their pocket, they have less money to invest in their children, whether it's putting a roof over their heads, whether it's clothes on their back, or food on the table. Now, the senator just articulated that women in general earn 84 cents on the dollar compared to men. And Latina women, which is the most egregious statistic, earn 54 cents on the dollar compared to white men. Now, this is a grotesque reality because this impacts our economy. This is money that's owed to these hardworking women. In the aggregate, on an annual basis, we're talking about $33 billion. $33 billion that otherwise should be invested into our economy by consumers. This will help move forward this economy. And I want to tip my hat to the Chamber of Commerce of California for their hard work and coming on board with this measure. But again, dealing with the income inequality gap that is profound because of the issue of gender and discrimination. We can invest, do the right thing, and make sure these hard-earned dollars, especially for single mothers, that they're paid what they're worth, and they can actually provide for their children by putting the clothes on their backs, the food, the nourishment that they need, the investments in education, and being a consumer. This is not just about gender inequality. It's about California's, competitive, position in a world economy. When women are being valued for what they are worth in California, which we know what it should be, then our economy grows altogether, irrespective of who you are, where you come from, irrespective of your political affiliation. Therefore, I'm in great support of this measure. I want to thank the senator for her tenacity, for her strength, for moving forward with this measure.
Great. Thank you, Senator De Leon. Senator Anderson.
I rise a little disappointed. This bill is, I think, is important, but I don't think we have to go much further than this chamber or the green carpet, because we have 2,100 employees that work for the legislature that are underpaid, that there's a gender gap within our own house. And I think that as we're looking out there and we're setting these bars for all the private sector, that we look to ourselves and to our own staffs and to the people that work for us to ensure that every woman gets her fair share. That if she works hard, she shows up and does her job, she's worth every penny a man fulfilling that job makes. And it's absolutely outrageous that we would allow it to occur in this House where we all agree. I don't think there's a member on this floor that doesn't agree that men and women should be paid equally. And yet, it raises its ugly head in this chamber and on the green floor of the Assembly. When I read the story from the SACB, it really hit home. I have the good fortune of marrying a woman that has worked very hard. She went back to school, changed degrees, changed professions, got a master's degree. I have two daughters who work very hard, very accomplished, and are moving forward. And the thought of holding their gender against their ability is absolutely outrageous. So I'll be voting for this today, but I would ask that the members reflect. When you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, make sure that we're not the ones that are offending, that we are giving equal pay to our staffs, and that we're insisting that our colleagues give equal pay to their staffs as well.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Senator Mitchell.
Well, I rise to support the bill and wish that it would go a little further, considering that women are the majority of Californians. Perhaps we should have some reparations and make up for lost time and get paid more than our male counterparts. Lord knows we multitask and outwork you all by noon every day, but that's not the nature of this bill. Nor is the nature of this bill the specifics about this House, but let me just say that as a sitting member of the Rules Committee, the issues you raise, Senator, oh, he's gone. The issues my colleague raises I have been taken very seriously by the Rules Committee, and it's something that we're looking into because we agree. But again, I think that specific issue doesn't have anything to do with this bill. I'm glad to hear that he's supporting it, and I will too as a proud member of the Women's Caucus.
Thank you, Senator Mitchell. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing none, Senator Jackson, you may close.
Well, keeping with the theme of pigs, I'm going to turn a sow's ear into a silk purse here. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate Senator Anderson pointing out the fact that disparities exist. They have existed for generations. They have probably existed since the beginning of the Republic and even before that. And nothing does change overnight. This bill brings to a consciousness, to a level of consciousness, the fact that women have been underpaid. And I certainly would love to have reparations, but I don't think the chamber would stay on with its support. And it is my goal that we make the reparations going forward so that women who achieve are paid equally for the work they do. It is a simple premise. It is one based on fairness and, frankly, logic and equality. which I think are the fundamental principles upon which this state and nation were founded. And as the Women's Caucus and as those of us here, both women and those who support women's equality, we will strive and we will succeed in reaching that level of equality going forward. It has been a long journey. It has been a long journey since the equal pay for equal jobs movement over 100 years ago, when we were talking about the right to vote. Equal pay for work of comparable value was another iteration. Equal pay for equal jobs is where we are back to, because we recognize the fact that it is the quality of the work and not the gender that should be determinative. And in today's world, with the challenges we face, with the fact that women, in 60% of working women, are working to provide an income for their families, either as the sole support or as the primary support of their families. It is critical that women are paid fairly and equally for the work they do. I think that's why the Chamber came on board, because there are many companies out there who want to do the right thing and should not suffer when companies can get away with paying women less just simply because of gender. We're here today to support the concept of equality. This is not going to end the discussion. It is going to begin the discussion successfully and effectively, and with that, I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. Bates. I. Bell. I. Berryhill. Block. I. Cannella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. I. Gaines.
Aye.
I. Galgiani. I. Hall. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Wesso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leba. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye. Anderson, aye.
Call the absentees.
Berryhill. I. Hall.
Ayes 38, noes 0. Measure passes.
President,
Senator
if I may,
Jackson, please.
I request a special motion to submit a letter to the Journal which will clarify the intent of two provisions regarding this measure and has been approved by both sides of the aisle.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Members will move to file item 36. Senator Lara, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 382 by Senator Lara, an act relating to juveniles.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. SB 382 will update the existing criteria used by judges when determining whether a youth offender should be tried in a juvenile or adult court. This bill will make sure that judges consider a person's comprehensive information about a crime and the person's ability to rehabilitate. Approximately 25% of our youth tried in adult court were sent there by the way of a fitness hearing. The rest of the juveniles in adult court are directly filed by a district attorney. The criteria used in fitness hearings is outdated and not based on current law or cognitive science. For instance, judges may only consider a juvenile's previous record, but the current criteria does not allow the youth's family history, previous trauma to be considered. The decision to send a youth to the adult system is a very serious one. The juvenile system is more focused on rehabilitation and provides far more support and opportunities than the adult criminal system. Recent U.S. and California Supreme Court cases, as well as cognitive science, has found that juveniles are more able to reform and become productive members of society if allowed to access the appropriate rehabilitation. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Members, any discussion or debate? Seeing none or hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. No. Bates. No. Bell. I. Berryhill. No. Block. I. Cannella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Galgiani. Hall. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. Hill. I. Hueso. I. Huff. No. Jackson. I. Lara. I. Leno. I. Leyva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. Nielsen. No. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Mr. Secretary, call the absent members.
Galgiani. Hall. Hertzberg. I. Wynn. No.
Ayes 24, noes 13, measure passes. Members, I would like to lift the call on file item 26. Mr. Secretary.
Hall. Hill. I. Wachowski. Wolk.
Ayes 21, noes 15, measure passes. Senator Hill, for what purpose do you rise?
That you were calling?
We're going to conclude for the day here. Returning to motions and resolutions. Senator Huff.
See, Mr. President, I'd like to move file item 45 ACR 12 with permission of the author to inactive.
Desk will note. Thank you. Members, motions and resolutions. Adjourn in memories. Senator McGuire. Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I rise to adjourn in memory of California Highway Patrol Lieutenant Jeffrey Rea. Senator Wolk and I both have the honor to be able to represent Sonoma County, and it is a tragic loss in the North Bay area. Lieutenant Rea was an amazing law enforcement representative, and he passed away over the weekend while scuba diving in Sonoma County. Rea enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1980 and attained the rank of Chief Warrant Officer before he retired from the reserves in 2011. In 1988, Lieutenant Jeffrey Rea joined the California Highway Patrol and worked throughout the Bay Area and Central California for a storied 27-year career with the CHP. He joined the CHP Santa Rosa office in 2009, following years in San Jose, Oakland, and the Central Valley. Greg Bartz, the commander of the Santa Rosa area CHP office, said in a statement, "Jeff was an integral part of our command and our CHP family, and it's a great loss for all of us this week." Mr. Rea enjoyed biking, motorcycling, scuba diving, and he loved tinkering with his old Thunderbird. Lieutenant Rea is survived by his 2 adult daughters, along with Courtney, his wife, and Jackie Marie, his ex-wife. Both were very close, and it is a sad today in the North Bay area, and we adjourn in memory with Mr. Lieutenant Rea.
Thank you, Senator McGuire. Our thoughts and prayers are with Lieutenant Jeff Rea's family. Thank you. Senator Morrell.
Yes, Mr. President, members. I ask today that we adjourn in memory of Christina Louise Milan. Christina passed away on May 18th after a long battle with cancer. She was surrounded by family and loved ones. Christina was also a lifelong resident of the Inland Empire, having been born in Fontana and raised in Rialto. She owned a hairstyling salon in San Bernardino and also later expanded her business into the city of Highland as she flourished. She was devoted to many charitable causes in our local community. In over 30 years, she worked with organizations such as the Assistant League of San Bernardino, Highlands Relay for Life, and the Believe Walk for Redlands, raising funds as well as awareness. She said her strength came from her love and support of her family, friends, and her relationship with God. She remained positive and hopeful throughout these last years as she was diagnosed approximately 7 years ago with cancer. She is survived by her husband of 35 years, Arthur, her sons Michael and his wife Amanda, Jonathan, grandchildren Isaiah, Ava, and Caleb, her mother Juanita Chavez and brother Ray Chavez, and sister Marianne and Carol. She will be deeply missed, and members, please join me in adjourning in the memory of Christina Milan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Morell, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Christine Milan. Thank you. If there is no other business, Senator De Leon, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, we will reconvene Thursday at 9 a.m.
Okay, the Senate will be adjourned, and we will reconvene Thursday at 9 a.m.